Every single time you sit down to eat, your dog appears. No sound, no drama, no barking, just those eyes. They sit there quietly, staring at your plate, watching every bite like it means everything in the world. And if you're like most dog owners, you've probably told yourself the same thing every time. They just want the food. But what if that's not really it? What if your dog isn't sitting there because they're hungry, but because something much deeper is happening in their mind the moment you start eating? Because the truth is, for most dogs, mealtime is not just about food. It's about instinct. It's about routine. It's about comfort. It's about connection. And in a way most people never realize, it's also about you. When your dog watches you eat, they're not always just begging. Sometimes they're responding to something ancient inside them. Dogs come from animals that survived by staying close to humans, waiting near the fire, learning that where people gathered and food appeared, safety usually lived there too. That instinct never fully disappeared. It just changed shape. Now it shows up in your kitchen, at your dining table, beside your couch, with your dog sitting perfectly still, eyes locked on your fork. And that stillness matters. A dog that's truly frantic with hunger usually looks restless. They pace, they lick their lips, they shift around, they paw at you. But a dog who simply sits and watches with total patience, that's often not desperation. That's expectation. That's ritual. That's an old survival pattern quietly playing out in a modern home. But here's where it gets more interesting. For your dog, mealtime is also one of the most predictable moments of the entire day. Think about how you look from your dog's point of view. You move from room to room. You leave the house. You come back. You disappear behind doors. You sit down, then get up 5 minutes later. You're loving, familiar, and comforting, but you're also unpredictable. Except at one time of day. When you eat, you stay. You sit in one place. You become still. You become available. And to a dog whose emotional world revolves around where you are, whether you're near and how long you'll stay, that matters more than most people understand. Mealtime becomes this dependable little ceremony, a moment they can count on, a moment where their favorite person in the world is finally not rushing somewhere else. That's why so many dogs show up before the first bite ever reaches your mouth. They're not only reacting to the smell of food, they're reacting to the moment, to the routine, to your presence. And then there's something even more subtle happening. Your dog is watching your face. Dogs are incredibly good at reading human expressions, better than most people realize. They notice your tension. They know when you're upset. They can tell when you're tired, distracted, stressed, or calm. And when you eat, your face often changes. Your shoulders relax. Your expression softens. For a few minutes, you look more at peace than you did all day. Your dog sees that. So while you think they're staring at your plate, they may actually be staring at you, at the small smile that shows up when you taste something good, at the way your jaw moves, at the way your eyes soften. To them, this may be one of the quietest, safest versions of you they get to see. And safety matters to dogs more than almost anything. There's also a deeply social part of this. Dogs may live in our homes, sleep on our beds, and wear silly little sweaters, but somewhere inside them is still the wiring of an animal built for group life. Togetherness matters. Shared routines matter. Being present while the group eats matters. Even if they don't get a bite, being there can still feel important. That's why some dogs don't even sit closest to the person with the best food. They sit closest to the person they're most bonded to. Because sometimes it isn't about the meal. Sometimes it's about belonging. Sometimes your dog is saying, in the only way they know how, I'm here too. This is my family too. Don't leave me out of this moment. And if you've ever closed a door to eat alone and your dog scratched on the other side, you've seen this firsthand. That behavior isn't always demand. Sometimes it's distress at being excluded from a ritual that feels socially important to them. But maybe the deepest part of all of this is what your dog has learned to associate with feeding itself. From the very beginning of life, food and love are not separate things to a puppy. Food comes from closeness, from warmth, from care, from safety, from someone bigger and trusted meeting their needs. And when your dog came into your life, you became part of that emotional system. You became the provider, the steady hand, the one who feeds, comforts, protects, and stays. So when your dog watches you eat, it may not just be curiosity or hope for a scrap. It may also be a quiet emotional check-in, a wordless question. Am I still part of this? Am I still safe with you? Do I still belong here? That's why even small responses can matter so much. Not just giving food, because not every human food is safe, and it's important to be careful, but eye contact, a smile, a soft word, a gentle touch, a little reassurance. Those things answer the real question. They tell your dog, yes, we're still us. Yes, you're still loved. Yes, you're still mine. And once you understand that, the whole moment changes. The next time your dog appears at your feet while you eat and looks up at you with those silent, patient eyes, don't see a pest. Don't just see a beggar. See the instinct. See the routine. See the trust. See the love. See the animal who has tied so much of their emotional world to your presence that even your dinner becomes a moment of connection. Because sometimes your dog isn't asking for your food at all. Sometimes they're asking for reassurance. And sometimes, just by looking back at them, you've already given it.